Leave it to the professionals.
Last by Dundee, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been golden when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her Era Lord. Call me Levi, playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like the Brown James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. Reviews not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum NFTs. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I got a shout out
Started
to
off with a
40.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Breaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in shoes. Yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, mighty, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. Had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the drive with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin, where we dive into all things crypto, NFTs, Web3, and cutting-edge technology. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. Early-stage tech can be exceptionally volatile and risky. So grab your coffee and join Cap and Steve for today's conversation.
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain GM. Thanks so much for joining us. If you haven't already done so, do us a favor, drop us a GM in the chat down below, then head up top, smash that like, repost, and bookmark on the day's space. We greatly appreciate it. Warms up the algo, does us real solid, and gets things going. YouTube chat rocking already again this morning. I, too, wonder what that YouTube XP is going to be used for. YouTube TGE is the rumors. You heard it here first. Machiavelli is calling it. Don't miss out on your YouTube TGE. They're also saying that anyone who subscribes to Coffee with Captain, you get a 2x multiplier on your YouTube token. So you're going to go ahead over there, do that today. Those likes, reposts, every chat gets you an extra YouTube token in the future. So get started now. We're also live on
before you do the live on. I did not add the abstract stream. So can I add that now? I don't know which one of these it is because you have Steve and SK live stream up here.
Either one should do it.
All right, I will try Steve.
I cleaned it up one day. I just wasn't sure which one. I usually use the one all the way to the right.
Oh, crap. I didn't use the one all the way to the right, so we're going to see if it works. I hit save. We're trying to do it, so...
A little behind the scenes today. We've got...
all right, we're going. Yeah. We're in the abstract chat now. You can add midstream. So there you go. Anyway, continue with the intro. I will add that into the sort of the... I
see the live as well. I will fire off a ping you tweet here in a sec. But yeah, we are live in the YouTube streets as well. GM to Mesh over there, as well as all of our GMers. And as always, I'm Cap, Jim, and my co-host Steve. Crypto isn't risky anymore. NFTs still a little bit risky. Meme coins a little bit risky, but it's full risk on season. Just crank up the leverage. Just shove all the chips in the table. I'm way kidding. You can join us for financial advice. Just we are not financial advisors, certainly not your financial advisors, but we definitely hold tokens we're going to talk about today. And it is a raging bull market. So if you are risk adverse, this may not be the show for you. I am not even kidding. But I am, as always, never put any money in you can't afford to lose. Steve, we lost you on the stage as well. You might want to need to take a lap. But holy moly is all I have to say. I woke up this morning. First screenshot I saw was 3,500 ETH. I checked the charts. It was 3,600 ETH. And I won't say what I shared in the war room, but let's just say, Brian Johnson, I'm coming for you, buddy. Steve, how you doing, sir? GM.
GM, just getting going this morning. GM to all the people out there in the chat as well. As always, Machiavelli, Von Frunton, Bordeaux, Saka, Mesh, was able to get going. Green Edge, good to see you back in the mix again. Teacher Katie, always good to see you out there. Floor Slime, happy to see you out there as well. Yeah, I mean, everything's cooking, man. Everything's cooking. By the way, yeah, like as always, give us a like, a retweet, a comment on the room. X spaces, I don't know if they're less discoverable or what's going on. Chief Diab, Blito, Dobbins, good seeing you out there. Riz, Dwayne, Teacher, Joey, Thomas, all our good friends. But any love you can give us that helps us get the space out in the wild, super helpful. But yeah, man, a lot of macro news. Feeling good about the macro news. As always, feeling underexposed. I just don't have enough of anything as we've hit this. And it's just the story of my life. Every time we hit a bull market, I just feel like I just don't have enough, but definitely have more than the average person. Retail still doesn't get it and still isn't here. So who knows how high it can go or if it'll continue to cook that way. But it doesn't look like it's slowing down for Ethereum. I'll tell you that much.
I think we're just getting started. We're finally, like, everything is happening that we thought would happen. And like I said before, I expected a lot of this following the ETF. I didn't expect all these strategic reserve companies quite going as hard as they're going in the paint. But I shared a couple things yesterday and I think both posts got nerfed. So I'm gonna pin them up top now. One is a pool. I even quote tweeted the Bankless boys this morning. See, that tells you how back we are. One is a pool that, again, I don't think anyone saw. Like four people saw, but I asked with SBET, because Joseph Lubin came out yesterday and announced SBET is raising $5 billion to buy more ETH. That would rank them number one again on the ETH strategic reserve. They would leapfrog Tom Lee's Bitmine company again. Ethereum Foundation's back to number 3. So my question was, where will the Ethereum Foundation rank by the end of this year? 12/31/25. Do you think they just sit at 3 and it's just a 2-person race or 2-organization race with SBET and Bitmine? Do you think ETH gets in buy mode? Like, will ETH stack more Ethereum, do you think? Or do you think Ethereum, as always, they sell the top and they actually reduce their stack of ETH throughout the remainder of the year? But my question was third, first or second, or 7th or over 8th. Any thoughts, your initial gut reaction on that?
Yeah, I answered the poll. I think it continues to go down. Because, well, also the best thing the Ethereum Foundation can do for Ethereum is sell it. And that sounds crazy because they have a bunch of it, but for a couple of reasons. One, getting it in the hands of institutional money is good because there's more demand, so that they're a issuer of that gets it out there. But two, one of the things, and I don't know if it's going to matter in the future. Right now, we have an incredibly pro-crypto Congress. We're seeing bills passed. We're seeing things move forward. The genie's leaving the bottle. There's a world where that's not the case. And the most positive thing that ETH can do, and the most positive thing that any cryptocurrency do, is be considered sufficiently decentralized. That is something that is a term Congress has used over the past 10 years or so, like shorter than 10 years, obviously, but past 5 to 7 years. The more ETH is distributed, the more decentralized it is seen, the more it is seen as being a commodity, the more it can be used as a financial vehicle. I know that sounds backwards to a lot of people, but
it doesn't sound backwards, but how does that, like, help me understand? Like, okay, so you're saying they sell, but not just to SBET and Bitmine, rather they distribute to a bunch of different corporations. Like,
no, it doesn't matter it doesn't matter, and I'm trying to get back on the space, by the way. Good look, Machiavelli. It doesn't matter who they sell it to. The point is that you look at the Howey test as being a, the concept of a centralized entity, right? Like that concept. Well, right now, one of the things that they've talked about is ETH being sufficiently decentralized, and like Solana, for example, not as sufficiently decentralized. So it helps that case and that story.
But you don't have the concern if it's SBET and Bitmine. Just like Tom Lee came out and said he wanted to hold 5% of the Ethereum. That's not helping your decentralization thesis unless you're saying, well, it's a public company,
correct,
therefore it is decentralized. You got a lot of equity holders there.
It's not like the idea of a security is that I hold Apple stock. Apple has a new iPhone, my stock goes up because they have good sales. If Ethereum Foundation is holding ETH and they are the controlling entity of ETH and they do something that makes ETH go up, they become more of a centralized entity holding the entity as well as controlling what it does. Now, if they're just making changes to EIPs, but they're like, hey, we don't have the ETH, we don't control the stock, the flow, the supply, like that element of it changes. So to me, again, I don't know that it's like the most necessary thing at this juncture in Congress, but when you're making a compelling argument for being more decentralized, if you're trying to make an argument for being decentralized, we're like, oh, we're the largest single holder of this thing and we're controlling the way it's going. And, you can expect it to go higher based on the fact that based on the things we do. That doesn't pass the Howey sniff test as much as, yeah, I mean, we're doing stuff to change this, but anybody can own this thing and everybody owns this thing. And so they control it as much as we do with the price going up. We're just trying to change the protocol. That changes the story if we have things that happen in the next few years that change the way Congress is thinking about crypto. I mean, look, the House Democrats were largely supportive of the bills that went through yesterday. I'm sure we'll talk about those a bit. So like that's good. I know that they voted against it. They procedurally made procedural stand on it going to the floor for vote because they were trying to, it was always going to go there and they're trying to make a point because politics are a team sport. But once it actually went to vote, they were largely supportive. So right now we see largely support on both sides. But in a world where we don't, or in a world where things change, that is where I would say we're probably looking at wanting to have ETH not sitting in the pockets of the ETH Foundation as a major holder. But hey, all these institutions own it. They're just tinkering around with the decentralized protocol and whatever happens with the price. Well, they don't have a lot of say in that. It gives a giant swing to the Howey test if you're having that conversation. So long story short, my answer to you is I think they will continue to sell it as time goes on. And I don't think that's a bad thing, even though people like to look at it as a bear case. I think there is a bull case to be made about it from a financial vehicle perspective by them selling it responsibly.
Checks out. No, I hear you. I got another post pulled up here. SBET, again, announced they're going to 5x their ETH stack. They hold just under $1 billion today. Bitmine does have a little over $1 billion. You can see here in the bottom right, the picture, Bitmine sitting on 300,000 ETH. SharpLink, SBET is at 280,000, followed by the ETH Foundation at 240,000 ETH. 300s, I don't know, call it $1 billion. They're both right about $1 billion. So Lubin is going to add another $5 billion to SBET. Tom Lee's going to keep buying. So my take here, and I haven't heard anyone talking about this yet. Imagine if Saylor and Strategy, it wasn't just Saylor and Strategy doing this Bitcoin strategic reserve from the jump. Imagine if there was two of them. That's what we have right now, right? Are they not, are Lubin and Tom not to ETH like Saylor and Strategy are to Bitcoin? It's the same thing. And we've got two whales. We have two public companies executing this strategy, and maybe they're friends, but what we're seeing early is there's a little bit of friendly competition there, no?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, man. It's hard to say because the tokenomics are different, and it's also like large companies.
Man, it's like, yeah, there's more ETH being produced, but like, forget about the strategic reserve companies. There's not even remotely close to enough ETH being issued on a daily basis to just cover the ETF demand. Now, maybe this changes, but this is insane. This is actually insane. This is the month of July. 790 ETH were net outflowed on the first. Since then, it's just been green. This, by the way, 2 days ago was an all-time record high. Yesterday, would have been an all-time record high if it wasn't for 2 days ago. Like the OTC tests are running out of ETH. I don't know if it's accurate. I heard Wintermute's out of ETH. Like this could get silly really quick because this is serious buy pressure. And yeah, there's not only 21 million ETH. There's not nearly enough being issued to keep up with the demand of these two things. Forget about retail, forget about everyone else. This is just crazy buy pressure.
Yeah, I no, I agree on the crazy buy pressure right now. I think there's certainly I'm trying to like I mean part of it is like maybe I don't want to be hurt again. And it's a very different setup. And I've said that before, and I feel very good about ETH right now. I've been like, I almost feel ridiculous because I've just been doing nothing but posting positive news about ETH for like 2 straight days to the point where I just like stopped and I just quote tweeted Tyler's post yesterday, who had everything in it, because it's like, it's, you know what the ETH news is like? It's like friggin' 2021 NFT collections. I can't blink without more ETH positive news coming out. It's just one thing after the other to the point where it's like, I almost feel like it's like I'm annoying myself with how much I'm posting about ETH positively. And it seems like I'm just bag pumping, but like, it's so positive that I'm trying to temper my expectations that like right now is the flood. It's almost like, is right now the hype period, like a hype period of like things, or is right now the calm before the storm, even with this money coming in? Because at some point it has to plateau. Like, I don't think the market cap can go up forever, because at some point I think we level off. Go ahead.
I don't know, man. Like, I know he's bull posting his bags, but, and we'll get into what else he's bull posting here in a second. Like, Tom Lee's more aggressive than Saylor right now. Like the targets and stuff he's talking about for, I mean, we're gonna have to fly. Like, this guy is, I mean, he's out there retweeting. He didn't just swap his PFP. Like, I gotta scroll through a half dozen tweets before I can even find something that's not a Pudgy Penguin retweet. But this thread here that he put out yesterday is he's going for some crazy numbers. You know, like basically comparing it to strategy when they started buying. And again, I know he's bull posting his own bags, but
I mean, he's running a little hot right now on that stuff, only because, and I'm not trying to be a hater, but like, he is making some crazy correlations. But again, I'm not going to be a hater on ETH. I like ETH. My thing is, and again, this is going to make me seem like I'm poo-pooing. I'm not trying to poo-poo. Don't shoot the messenger on this one. The thing that I would say, and this is not me saying like I'm not bullish on ETH, I'm not buying more ETH, I'm doing all of the above. My concern goes something along the lines of like, at some point we hit how many people like, hey, ETH is a strategic reserve, you know, ETH is the next one, you know, at some point, the story of ETH has to actually match the buying story that we're telling ourselves, which is we need companies using the blockchain, not just little people who are experimenting around. And so, again, not like saying this to be a hater or a person who's, you know, doesn't believe in ETH. I do. My concern is like, at some point, if we're saying the story of ETH is going to be the next base layer of the internet, ETH's going to be the infrastructure, it's going to be the picks and shovels, that has to happen. It can't just be that is going to happen.
Like, it is though, isn't it? I mean, it's not just like Robinhood and, you know, all the recent like layer 2 announcements. I think yesterday, like 3 bills were passed in favor of this stuff. Like, banks are coming. Like, TradFi is coming. Like, it's happening. And I think that now that regulation isn't just like, oh, they're not going to come after us and send us Wells notice. Like, oh, this is now actually, you know, they're encouraging us to custody crypto. They're encouraging us to, you know, account for crypto holdings when as far as, you know, consumers taking out mortgages. Like, I think it's happening as we speak. And, you know, have some already made the move before the bills passed yesterday? Sure, absolutely. But I think there's a world where that might have been like the floodgates. This could be this week. I'm not even just saying this. It could be like a floodgate moment for TradFi and businesses to make their moves. Now, some may have been talking about it and thinking about it and deliberating. They have a plan that they just haven't executed on it. Others might be today. They're in a Friday board meeting. They're like, okay, we have to figure out our blockchain strategy, or otherwise we're going to get left behind. We've got our competitors, other banks, other like. I think if it wasn't crazy raging bull week, we probably spend the whole show talking about these 3 bills that passed. Like, this is a major deal, is it not?
I think no, absolutely. What I'm saying though is what we're saying though is like right now, are we in the announcement of the announcement phase as far as like ETH goes? And then at some point we become no longer in the announcement of the announcement phase, right? Like right now, is it like all these great things are happening, but at some point does the actual activity need to catch up for it to like, are we going to hit I guess what I'm trying to say is like, are we going to hit a stall point where it's like right
Probably.
now, you see what I'm saying? Like that's that.
Probably. But I think what might mitigate it is it's not just one company. It's there's so many people making moves. And so, yeah, could there be a stall? Probably likely. But I think like we're going to see some now, we're going to see some next year, we're going to see some in the fall. I can see this being just an ongoing, we see more and more and more activity as momentum ramps up. Because I think there's got to be some FOMO that starts kicking in at some point as well. And these people realize that, like, honestly, like, do you think a bank will exist that will be do you think it's possible for a bank to be a thriving bank and not have a crypto division in 5 years from now?
No, I don't think so. And that's where I'm like saying like short term, long term. Like I'm always going to be a long term believer in this. My concern is like not concern, but like the only reason why I'm like not trying to pour water on the parade. But what I guess what I'm saying is like right now, all of this positive activity is coming, and it's like, hey, this is going to be good. We're forward looking. This is going to be awesome. At some point, is Wall Street going to say like, are we going to be, because time takes stuff to build, takes time to build on the blockchain. Are we going to be in like 6 months from now and Wall Street's like, where's all the Ethereum building that we said was going to happen? Like, and it's on the way, it's coming down the pike, it's going to happen. But at some point, is it going to be like, yeah, man, it's got to happen at some point. So like at some point it needs to actually happen. And I just, that's my concern, I guess. I don't know if I'm articulating it well, is that they're going to say like, we've been buying, ETH so good. And then they're going to be like, well, wait a minute, like ETH's awesome, we're all buying, but like, are people actually building stuff on ETH, or is it just like at some point does that come to fruition where like Wall Street looks at it and says, cool, but like we need to actually see this stuff happening in real time for us to continue to buy it up. And at some point, do we hit a snag? Because everybody who builds on the blockchain, it's going to take time. You have to build the infrastructure. So like, for example, part of the thesis is traditional finance. Part of the thesis is stablecoins. Part of the thesis is just owning ETH. You know, all these different things. But the part of the thesis of owning ETH is it being the next picks and shovels of the internet. So, like, if that's the case, but then no major companies have come out with a blockchain-based program in the next 6 months on ETH, do they say, wait a minute, where is this thing, right? And so, like, that's the one thing. Again, I'm just, like, playing the other side of it. I'm still buying ETH. I'm still excited about ETH. We have a lot of room to run as a financial asset. But at some point, Bitcoin has digital gold. Bitcoin has CryptoPunk energy. It doesn't need to do shit except for just continue to go up, right? It's just people buy it, people hold it. It's a store of value.
Speaking of CryptoPunk energy, real quick, we'll hit it on the daily market update, but a couple of massive V1 CryptoPunk sales yesterday.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, like CryptoPunk's continuing to do their thing and cook. But yeah, it's just
50 ETH ape and a 200 ETH alien. Again, these aren't the V2 CryptoPunks. These are V1 CryptoPunks. One sold for 200 ETH yesterday.
So I guess like, net, just to like give like put sort of like a bow on it. I guess my point being, if you are somebody who is sort of buying ETH because you have this thesis about it, it's sort of like if a company says, we're going to build the best metaverse you've ever seen. It's going to be the most beautiful metaverse, yada, yada, yada. And you're like, okay, I bought this NFT because I'm ready for this metaverse. Or I'm ready for like getting like when gutter cats are like, you're going to buy it and you're going to get a house and a car in the metaverse and sandbox. And then it just doesn't happen. At some point, if that's the utility, the price goes down. Are people buying ETH to be this next base layer of these things? And then it's going to happen, but it's going to take years, not weeks, not months. Do we see a downward trajectory in that way where people are like, well, wait a minute, like this is what you had told me was going to happen and this isn't what's happening. So I'm not sure if my money's best placed elsewhere. That's the only thing that can stop it right now, is that the story is running and the news is running faster than the actual infrastructure being built. So that's my only sort of like pump the brakes potential moment. I'm not saying that's something to be worried about. I'm not saying that's going to happen. It's just it's a thought about where we could hit a stopping point where everyone's so hot and heavy on ETH right now. All the bills are passing all the things. Is it going to take a couple of years for these companies to really build out on it? And is that going to play out or not? So that's the one thing that I think could potentially stop ETH in its tracks. But yeah, I don't know. Love Wasim, by the way, over here. I have a poll out, by the way. Speaking of polls, I have this poll that I put out this morning.
I heard that wrong the first time you said it, but go ahead.
It says, which of the following would you rather own right now? 1 Bitcoin, 1 CryptoPunk, 33 ETH. And it's, it's not a ton of votes in, 142, but like, 1 Bitcoin at, 42%, CryptoPunk at 22, ETH coming in second, then other, and a bunch of people commented. Wasim or Minted Tokens, who sometimes listen to the space, goes 10 Bored Apes, sir. It would be 3 Bored Apes at that same price. So if we're doing the math, like, yes, I think owning 10 Bored Apes would be better because that would be 4x the price of what we're talking about here. But 10 Bored Apes wouldn't fall into that. Which one would you rather own, Cap? You could own any of them right now. I won't even put a time frame on it. Just want to get your want to hear your perspective on this.
I mean, the route I've went, ETH is the route I've went.
So you would say 33 ETH right now over 1 Bitcoin or 1?
I'm like, I said it many times during the bear. I stopped buying ETH, but I thank God I did not capitulate. And it's my personal example of time in the market is better than attempting to time the market. Like if you've been here every show, you saw me talking myself out of capitulating and rotating out of my ETH bags. Fortunately, I did not, and I just sat and clenched on, and thankfully I didn't. But yeah, I it's just the bet I made, and I'm not swapping out of it now. Like I think we're finally catching a bid, and yeah, in that example, I think ETH has the most. I do. I think we're entering ETH season. I think Bitcoin goes first. It's now ETH's turn. I still am probably not going to try to time the top of the cycle. Like I truly believe in the long-term thesis of ETH. I do believe it's the base layer of the new internet. And, part of the other news in the yesterday is that they're going to turn staking on. Like, I think that's going to be very attractive to TradFi. So yes, we know all the things that are going to be built on ETH, but just purely as a financial asset, it checks out. Like there's merit in just by that alone. And yeah, I'd stick with my ETH.
Yeah, I think that's going to be interesting. I guess like I want to go back to the question I asked yesterday, which we may not have an answer to because it's like, hey, we can't see in the future. We don't know for sure. I'm still trying to figure out what is the sort of what direction are we going and what is the like what is going to be the get ahead of it this cycle? Because we talked about yesterday, we don't feel like there's going to be a lot of, we don't feel like there's going to be a lot of, like NFT collections or new NFT collections, right? Like that was a discussion we had yesterday. It's like, hey, I don't know if there's going to be new NFT collections minting out or going crazy right now. We have enough communities, we have enough NFTs, like maybe some art, but we're not sure what that is. We have a couple of brand coins in Pengu and Rekt, but those took so much time to build, right? Like Rekt is a brand that has been built brick by brick. Pudgy Penguin is a brand that's been built brick by brick. What is the theme of the cycle that is not TradFi, or are we just giving TradFi our money and they're coming in to buy our coins, right? Because like, or TradFi's,
I think we get our apes, our Pingu, our Rekt of this cycle, which it just hasn't happened yet. I don't know what it's going to be, but I do think we'll see brands, crypto native brands, get launched this cycle that maybe they launch with an NFT mint, maybe they launch with a TGE, Maybe they launch with an NFT mint that's a placeholder for a former, a future token allocation. I think, um, I don't, I'm not going to pretend to know what it's going to be, but I do think we'll absolutely see new brands and businesses be launched, or brands and businesses are established come and enter this space. I don't think it's going to be purely off speculative vibes and art. I think it's going to be, here's what we're building, and you can come along for the ride if you want. I think we're going to see more of, whether they're ICOs or, I don't know if there's only one right way to do the model, but I think we will see, the Reks, the Pingus, the apes of this cycle get started over the next 6 months. And are they going to go from $200 to $400,000 this cycle? Probably not. But I think fast forward 4 years, we're having the same conversation, hopefully still talking about Rekt and Pingu and apes, but I think we'll also be talking about what are the XYZ of this cycle, which happens to be, we're comparing it to the brands that, the 3 or 4 or 5 that become, major crypto native brands that just haven't launched yet.
Yeah, so it's like something's like, you still think there's going to be a sort of, alpha play that we could have, a beta play that we could have, where we can get out in front of people and like have the, like, sort of like, if you were in NFTs early, you cooked. If you were Top Shot early, you cooked. If you were in, ETH, Bitcoin, etc. early, you cooked. Like if you were in ICOs early, you cooked. If you were a meme coin person, like, 9 months ago, you cooked. Do you think there's going to be, like, there seems like there always is.
Yep.
I just can't figure out what.
I think those opportunities increase significantly when in a bull market, when there's just more wealth and liquidity to create that momentum out of the jump from the gate. Like, can people launch in a bear? Sure. It's just easier to capture serious momentum if you can capture the attention in a bull market. And yeah, I just, like, what I'm looking for though is going to be, I hate to keep going back to like infra, like, we both hold fluffles and we're bullish mega ETH. There could be more of that, but I'm really like, I don't think it's just going to be infra. I don't think it's just going to be other blockchains or protocols. I do think, like, I don't know, man. I like, part of me wants to go back, like, is there a second AI agent season where they're actually productive this time? Like, where there's, you combine the elements of a brand coin and something, a productive agent like a Billy Betts. And I think as things really heat up, I think you're going to have a lot more entrepreneurs, a lot more VCs look at how can we build in crypto and leverage these mechanics in the form of NFT mints, token generation events. And I think we have the ability to be early to this stuff because we're here, and we should see it and hear it before the general public does.
Yeah, it's just like, what is that thing like that? And that's where I'm trying to like see around the corner. And it's just, I guess what the weird part about it is, like, by this point, to me, it felt like, and again, I'm not like, I'm trying to make sure, is there something I'm missing, right? Because InfoFi is a big theme, but I still think InfoFi is like, it feeds the mouths that are already fed for the most part. I'm not particularly good at InfoFi because I'm not good at faking it. I do well on some leaderboards where I'm already talking about stuff for the most part, or I care about it. But generally speaking, it's like, it's not my jam. I don't get money for my staked Kaido. I've gotten money for my staked Kaido once in like 4 months.
Kaido's clearly broken. InfoFi is not broken. Kaido just needs to tweak their algorithm really quickly. It's broken pretty poorly. Did you see Greeny's post this morning?
No, I missed it.
Let me pull it up.
Yeah. Pull it up and hit the zoom. I'd love to see what it's
Yeah, I mean, Kaido is very much so broken. I didn't realize this, and maybe it's not actually why he's doing it, but Camel has become basically shifted into a misinformation farmer.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
But per Greeny, he's doing it to prove that InfoFi is broken. He's been experimenting, allegedly, spreading misinformation to earn mindshare and yaps. How'd it go? In 1 week, he's ranked 5th in mindshare, earned over 1,000 yaps, placing him 3rd. So where to next for InfoFi? 1,000 yaps by spreading misinformation. That's broken. Like he should get 0 for that. Like it's not hard. And Kaido's been cooked for the last couple of weeks. It really it's. And I respond, InfoFi isn't broken, but Kaido is. Misinformation gets more than info, gets more than stakers, and it's early. I don't expect anyone to be perfect, but if they don't make some adjustments soon, there's going to be someone come in that's going to start eating their lunch.
Yeah, because that's my worry is like Kaido sort of
it's basically just it's reverted back to it's doing a lot, kind of the same thing it was attempting to solve, right? It's rewarding engagement farming, it's rewarding noise, and not actually is it kind of rewarding real info? Yeah, but not as much as it is the engagement farming and the noise. It's like the whole thesis behind this is it was going to start helping you find quality over quantity. It's going to help you find real signal over just engagement farming. And that's the easiest proof point to show that it's broken. And this is not a shot at Camel. I like Camel. I didn't realize that I haven't asked him, so maybe he's not. Maybe he's just purely engagement farming, and it has nothing to do with Kaido. But you look at Camel's feed. I don't think he's put anything out in the past week that should have earned him 1,000 yaps, other than his misinformation farms.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I don't find the misinformation stuff like the general Camel stuff is like funny when he like makes the jokes. I actually don't find the misinformation stuff.
I don't think an issue
funny.
with it, but he shouldn't be getting rewarded with yaps. He shouldn't be like. That's just like it defeats the purpose of their platform.
Yeah, it does, and like that's one. I don't find it like. It depends how you look at it. I don't find misinformation like jokes funny when they're like towing the line. Like I'm fine with like ones that are actually funny, but when he's like Polymarket's acquiring Barstool Sports or something, and then people believe it, and I know people are like, "Haha!" Those
are the ones that's earning the yaps.
I know.
Exactly how he got 1,000 yaps this week was just literally creating fake headlines, doing a Photoshop, making up something that is not true at all, and that's like his other posts do okay, but not even remotely close to the misinformation.
But the problem is like, so two things here, because there's two differences of options here. One, I'm just going to be old man yells at cloud. I think this theme that we've seen where it's like, do something fake, but kind of pretend it's real. But haha, oh no, it's just a joke. Ha, joke's on you. I'm so good at this. Like, I don't like that necessarily. Like, I'm not trying to poo poo on it. I like Camel, but like, I've seen this happen as a theme in general, where I see my kids watching a video and it's obviously fake, but people are pretending it's real. And then it's like, haha, it's fake. It's so funny. Like, not my jam. But as far as the InfoFi thing, yes, I think Kaido is broken as far as that goes. If it's picking that stuff up and not being able to filter that out, it's a problem. Their argument might be like, well, he's in CT, he's connected to the platform, and people like his content, and it's obviously parody, so they think it's funny. Like, that's the argument they would make. Again, not my journey. And in general with Kaido, it's like, I am waiting to see the direction they go with the product. I don't think Kaido cares about making InfoFi the thing that's used by brands and companies outside of Web3, which is fine. Like I've talked to some InfoFi people who don't care about that either, and that's not their jam. But like, I don't know, man. Like I stake a lot of Kaido. If I don't stake 5K, I don't get certain rewards. If I don't have an NFT, I'm not going to get certain access. And I'm like, I guess I'm earning yield, but I could probably earn better money elsewhere. It's like, I'm kind of like, I know we talk about this and it's like, this is one of my big back and forth things, but it's like, part of what I was thought the thesis on Kaido was stake. You're going to get little like distros here and there. They're going to put it out to the stakers. I got one payout for like $20 or something or whatever it was. I don't remember what it was, but like maybe it was $100. I don't remember what it was, but it was like, I don't know. Like I'm trying to, and there's so much noise with it. It's so many protocols. I don't know. Like I don't think that's the thing of this cycle, I guess is my point. It's like, I thought it had a lot of potential, but I think it's just like, Kaido's just going to get paid a lot of money to get a lot of people to talk about certain things. And I'll watch the most fed mouths continue to eat, or BS rises to the top.
Here's a good example. Here's a real SocialFi post from Camel promoting Polkadot and FIFA Rivals. He got 692 views and 19 likes. So probably earned him a yap or two. I'm trying to find his. That's not it. He posts a lot. Yeah. Anyways, bad TV here. I thought I didn't think it was this far down. There you go. Conversely, so that one got the actual InfoFi post got him 672 views. His fake news, his most recent fake news, got him 207,000 views, 1,400 likes, and 1,000 yaps. What do you think Camel's going to do more of?
I also think, like, I mean, I saw somebody who talked about like fake, like said they got hacked and got a bunch of yaps. It's like, it's not. It's like they're trying to say it's about driving the conversation, and that's going to get you the yaps, and that'll get you higher in the counter leaderboards. Like, I don't know. It's not a system right now that works. To your point, I'll like leave it at that. Like, don't think the system is currently working very well. Not, over the moon about the way it's, not over the moon about the way it's. So I guess like we were talking about metas this cycle. I guess I don't know what's going to happen with InfoFi this cycle. I'm just not certain. One, I'm not certain they care about having it be like a real product beyond crypto. Like, I think it's just like one of those products. Unfortunately, in crypto, sometimes meme coins are one of these products. They're products that exist in our market that can have a ton of mind share, a ton of money, and be super profitable. This is probably just me being like old man yells at cloud on a day when we're going to talk about Ethereum. So we'll have a happier second half of the show. But like, I'm not as happy about like, I'm not over the moon about products that like we only will like look at crypto that maybe might make sense outside, but don't. But like, we spend so much time, money. We're like, hey, Pump Fund is product market fit. Absolutely. By the way, Pump Token not doing what people thought it was, despite like the efforts to buy it back up. And I was, I didn't play the Pump Token at all for this very reason. Meme coins are a crypto phenomenon. There might be occasional people who come from outside of the space to play, but generally speaking, it's not like, people are going to go out and buy meme coins. Like, for the real world, like, Bitcoin is a meme coin, like, compared to stocks. Like, ETH is a meme coin compared to stocks. Like, that is what the real world sees outside of our world. Like, that is their meme coins. They're like, whoa, risky play, don't get it. Why do we need more money? Like, that's what people say. So I don't think they're coming for that. Like, it's here. InfoFi, I thought, could be a thing that isn't just a Web3 thing. But I think that there's so much money to be made that Kaido and I don't think they care. Like, I think they're just happy printing their money and then they'll sail off into the sunset.
Maybe, but I still believe InfoFi scales beyond Web3. Maybe it isn't Kaido, but it should. Done well, it should scale beyond Web3. It's just you can't be rewarding people to the extreme for sharing what is very obviously fake news. And I don't know, like, I'm not smart enough to figure out how you can fix it. I'm sure it's very hard to sort out fake news from real news, speaking algorithmically. You got to figure it out. If you got to hire people to have them put them manually to review everything on a daily basis, like it just, otherwise we just get back to, to get paid in crypto, you just got to drive a lot of impressions. You don't have to convert anything. You just got to get a lot of eyeballs in your thing. Whether you bought it or you scam it or you make up shit, like that's not what this is supposed to be.
Yeah, it's I see Diablito saying Pons wants to take Zeet beyond Web3. I don't know. Like, Zeet was asking how you'd improve InfoFi. We talked about it. What was that, like a month ago? I don't know what's going on with Zeet. I know he had his account, he got lost, but like I'm not certain what's going on with Zeet.
Well, they obviously had the delay with the, they got put on ice for a week or so with their account suspensions, but he's back. I just saw Pons is back on the timeline. I don't know if the Zeet account's unsuspended, but Pons is.
What's Zeet? I just don't know. It's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what Zeet's doing. That's different. I know that they announced fantasy top cards, which again, fantasy top cards are the epitome of noise over Signal. Like, so, like, remember that was their last big announcement? They're like, everybody's going to get a fantasy top card. I'm like, that's the epitome of noise over Signal. Like, that is the epitome of like people's content because there's a financial benefit to it. Like, that's one of my, like, again, my old man yells at cloud takes is that people are like, fantasy top is a real product. Oh, it's coming to base. It's going to be awesome. It's like, people don't want to, like, fantasy top, if it scales big enough, it won't pass the sniff test with regulators because it's a manipulatable betting market. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess he's trying to work it out. Maybe that's it. But like, DW just says Pons won't take Zeep beyond 1-3. I know he said that on the show, and he can't get into details. He doesn't want to get front run, and I respect that he doesn't want to get front run. But I haven't seen a compelling argument for any of these things moving. I agree. InfoFi should be something that brands would care about. So I don't know. I don't know. Like, I guess I'm waiting for like to put it back on the tracks, and then we can get into like the actual bullish, exciting stuff. I don't know what the case is, or what the next thing around the corner is. And I feel like I've been pretty good at seeing that in the past. And maybe I've just lost my fastball, but it was like 2016, 2017, I saw crypto, right? In 2021, 2021, I saw NFTs. I saw what meme coins were, but didn't get involved when they started to cook up a little bit because it wasn't my jam. I don't know what this next thing is besides, and maybe it's just the season of TradFi, but I'm looking for like, what is the play that we are early to that works for us the way NFTs did last cycle, the way that meme coins did for people 9 months ago, the way that, crypto in general worked for people in ICOs. And it's just, to your point, like, is it AI agents that actually do things and you get in early on them? Because I don't think it can be, because brand coins, I think I've come around to a point on brand coins from where we were that I think Rekt and Pengu, and in certain instances, and maybe that's it.
That's it. I think that's it. I really do think that's it. And I do believe, I think we could see brand coins incorporate with NFTs as well, just like Rekt and Pengu. I'm not saying that the next big brand coin goes the exact model and it starts with a free NFT min, and then they get equity, and then they could claim some token, or you hold an NFT for years and then you get a token drop later. But I do believe there will be crypto native brands, whether they're existing and they're ready to level up because they finally ready to launch their product, or it's a brand new startup. I believe we'll see brands take pieces of this playbook. They'll take things that Rekt and Pengu have done very well. I think we'll see them iterate on that. And yes, I think that very well could be, when we look back in a few years and say, what was the big thing in 2025 beyond all the institutional and TradFi and strategic reserves and positive regulation. I think it's in range. I think it's very possible that we look back at 2025 as it was the year that brand coins became a thing. And
what do we think? But how do you think? Like, talk me through. And I know we can't see the future or whatever, but like, the reason why that's like an interesting thesis and why I'm the other side of that would be like, Rekt and Pengu are brand coins that have had built, like, who exists in the space that could put out a brand coin right now, maybe that doesn't have one, that you would think like, yep, that's the one that, like, when they drop that thing, like, that's the bet I want to make. And maybe it's a brand that has.
I'll give you some example. I have no idea what he's thinking about. I have no idea what he's building. Maybe nothing. But Luca and OSF and team, they were very active participants in the space. They were traders. Before Rekt, OSF and Mando held 80 apes. I think there's like, here's an example. If ICO Beast comes out tomorrow and says, I'm doing a thing, there's, here's how you get a whitelisted for it. There's going to be an NFT mint, and then we're going to launch a brand coin around fill in the blank, whatever protocol or business he's looking to build. I'm in. I think there's influential people in this space that have had success that will have an idea. And now, as we've said, it's the greatest time ever to be an idea guy or gal. Like, you can take something from ideation to market at unprecedented speeds. And I think we'll see. There you go. That's another great one. I agree.
That's it. Actually, Von Frunten came from the top rope. That's it.
Yep.
Sorry, Cap. I didn't mean to cut you off by bringing Von Frunten's in here, because I think as you're talking, the reason why I'm just nodding my head is like, it makes me think about the fact of like, what is the thing?
Dude, I'm serious. I might watch a brand coin this quarter.
I was going to say the same thing. I was like, what is the thing we can put together? What business can we build?
I actually talking with a broker. I found a location this week. Like, I might make a move. And if I do, I'm not going to launch a brand coin day one. But in my head, if I'm going to get in another retail business, I'm not doing it without a brand coin, Steve. I'm not doing it without an on-chain loyalty program. Like, it's just like, so I'm not one of these like influential people that's some crypto whale that's going to get all the attention of the space. But I've had a pretty decent track record in building retail businesses, and I love what I'm seeing here. And if I do another venture, I'm absolutely incorporating all this stuff that I can. Maybe I fail, but I know I'm not the only one that's thinking like this. And so that's what I'm looking for is, A, who are the VeeFriends and Clanos of the world that could turn this on? They're already
Clanos is a great one too. Clanos is a great one too. Sorry,
and then who are the other entrepreneurs that might take a shot at this thing? Whether it's retail venture, whether it's I don't know what we would do with Coffee with Captain Coin. I'll put some thought to it. I'm not going to do it just to do it to grift off of the meta.
I would rather think about what is something we love. So like the other day we talked to Joey about like health and fitness, something you're into, something I love, but I don't do nearly enough. I've actually considered, there's a CrossFit gym that my buddy works at that I feel like the owner's getting more checked out. I've talked to him about like, should we just buy this gym and run it? Like to that point, like where it's like getting exciting, like take out a loan, buy the gym, run it, whatever. It's like,
or Steve, take out a loan, launch a brand coin to fund it. Like that sounds kind of crazy, but it's not. And I actually believe it might be easier than traditional financing.
I wouldn't do that yet because like you have to think about like what that means for like a local gym or whatever. But to your point about it, it's like I started thinking about like with the lax nature of the sort of brand coin business, and I don't know, there is a lot of, I love Joey Valles in the war room. Shout out Joey Valles. I'd love to own a CrossFit with you. I would love to own a CrossFit with you, Joey. We're like 900 miles away or something.
I'm not even kidding. If I could figure out how to do it to where everyone, like, I could do it and just do the trust me, bro. If I could figure out a way where I could launch a personal brand coin now, and this is going to be Caps Ventures. And over the next 10 years, everything I do that's revenue generating is there's going to be value accrual flowing back to the brand coin, whether it's a retail business, whether it's best ball. I mean, let's even make it simpler. I don't know, 500 drafts deep in Underdog this year. I'd like to go harder. But I'm not, it's already probably too much liquidity tied up, especially in a raging bull market. So it's like, I'm checking myself. I ran well in baseball, so I've just been reinvesting profits, but I am.
You actually just reminded me while you look this up. I forgot that I cooked on Ohio State last year, and I've got like $1,000 sitting on like ESPN bet that I need to like pull most of and actually put to work in crypto because it's just sitting there doing absolutely nothing. And I don't really want to put it to work with. Although here's I might put it to work with Billy Betts this football season. Actually,
so
maybe I'll just.
I remember 500 drafts deep for best ball on Underdog alone.
I fucking love you, man. I love you.
I would like to get to. I'd like to probably 5x that. I want to max out the best ball mania. No, I could just go to my circle of friends, like, hey, because I've done this before with DFS. I'm like, hey guys, no markup. Anyone want to stake me? $1 for dollar. If I end up having 10 grand in best ball exposure and you put in $1,000, you'll have 10% of my equity. I could do that. I'd rather do it as a token. I'd rather do it as like, do you remember back before brand coins, before NFTs really took off, there was, I think they were calling them social coins. There was I'm drawing a blank on the name, Whale something. Not whale like whale swoosh, but there was another whale that was a big investor, had a lot of NFTs, and you could basically get access or exposure to that by way of their token. There was actually this is all pre the launch pads and everything. There was a roll up, maybe this is like back in 2020. I reached out to him and asked to do basically this very thing. I was like, hey, I've done DFS and best ball, and I've always done this just like friends and family. I'd love to create a token and just open this up to more people. And it was like, I just wasn't big enough at the time. They were like, check us in the future. Like we're just being really selective on who we launch these tokens with, and cool. So I just moved on and things got silly. We entered silly season. I forgot about it. Like there's something there. I haven't thought through it because if I do it, I want to do it right and not trust me, bro. And right now it'd have to be trust me, bro, because I have to take everything off chain to put in play. And then for all the random stranger knows, I win the best ball mania for 2.5 million or 2 million. And I just take the cash to the bank and never make it right. I wouldn't do that, but Joe in Seattle has no idea. Like, he doesn't know me from Adam, and maybe I haven't enough social credibility and trust established that, you know, a couple dozen people might want to stake me, and that's all I need. These are things that I've actually been consciously thinking about, from best ball to a real estate investment to a business investment, a retail business. There's a couple missing pieces. I haven't found a way to connect the dot yet. But I'm actually genuinely, like, these are thoughts that, like, I can't turn it off out of my brain. And if I do a retail venture again, I want to do it this way. Like, I want to have an on-chain loyalty program. I want to have a brand coin. I want to bring our supporters along. And so part of me thinks, like, hey, why don't I just do a personal brand coin and then it captures all my ventures? It's just, today it would be on the trust me bro model, and I don't want to do that.
When it's hard to put, like you said, like, it's almost like you need to, like, be really, like, if you're going to do that, you want to be really thoughtful of how it all ties together. Because I see what you're saying of, like, putting, like, basically cap ventures under, like, one brand coin, and then there's some sort of, like, way to, like, distribute and do that. But yeah, there's
but so we're not there yet. We're there on, like, individual brands. Like, you could use the Rekt brand model. But so it's like I could see this evolving to something like that.
Yeah.
So if anyone has any ideas, I'm all ears.
Yeah, no, it's like, honestly, like, I'm thinking about, like I actually started thinking about, like, right now that you say that, it gets the wheels turning about, like, what is a thing that is something that me, someone else, et cetera, is passionate about, that we know the market as well as anybody else in, that you would be able to launch similar to, like, the way Rekt does Rekt drinks, but, like, you know, sell in a similar manner, partner with the right people, launch something on one of the chains, Ape Chain, Abstract, etc., like the way that, like, Rekt is able to do it, to be chain agnostic and have some points and some crypto that goes along with it. Like, there is a model there that maybe it is. Maybe I'm coming around to what you and Von Frunten have been trying to convince me of, right? Solomon, I've been such an old man lately. He goes, there's not enough clouds in the sky for you to yell at all of them. In my opinion, you need a brand to launch brand coin, at least to scale the funds and operations. Right. But, like, I guess my point being, as far as, like, that goes,
but do you?
I
know you do, but my point, like, looking at Rekt, like, I don't know. I think they launched Rekt coin before they ever launched Rekt drinks. Pretty sure, right?
Yeah. But
I know Rekt was a brand, but their actual end product, their product wasn't launched yet. They used Rekt coin to essentially fund in the launch of and launch it with a $50 million marketing budget. Like, that's a freaking playbook, man. Better than an NFT event for raising funds.
Yeah, that's the exciting part. Like, that's the exciting part for me to think about, is, like,
this is a good question. Von Frunten, you want to come on stage today? I don't know what coffee or what do you have? I want what Von Frunten drank this morning.
Yeah, like, I know Von Frunten's on one in the best way possible.
Instead of Von Frunten, we get poor man's Von Frunten. Joey's joining us.
No, Joey's my gal. Come on now.
I kid. Joey, I don't know if you heard that. I got to check if you heard it or not, because I think I invited you up, but it was a friendly joke. I said we got poor man's Von Frunten joining the stage. Joey, GM, welcome.
I didn't hear it because it was right when you probably admitted me to the stage, so it got, like, muted.
This is Alpha.
But
if you want to get in
I'm definitely. I mean, listen, Von Frunten's a former lawyer, so I am. He's definitely ranked above me when it comes to people that should be speaking up on a stage. No, I'm not hurt by that.
This is Spaces Alpha, though. If you want to get in a quick jab while you're bringing someone up on stage, as soon as you hit the accept button or bring them up, you can say whatever you want. They can't hear anything for a few seconds, so that's a quick way to get in a jab that's unknown. I kid though. It's all fun. Glad to have you.
Oh yeah, I know. So I'm not obviously a Rekt expert, right? But I have done some research, and was Rekt even considered a quote unquote brand prior to the drinks? Because from my understanding, they, like you said earlier, Cap, they were participants in the space, right? They were trading NFTs and buying and holding and all this stuff like that, and then the art came after that. But I wouldn't consider the art a brand, right? Like, I guess his art brand came next, right? With all the glitch art. I remember, he started doing like all the different cities and stuff like that at one point, and people were like, "Oh, if you own all the cities, it's going to turn into something." And then, right, like he did Paris and New York, and so like I guess the brand was art, but then came the token.
Well,
but I never considered it a brand until they actually went into like Web 2 with the drinks.
I mean,
or am I crazy?
no, I mean, there was definitely, I mean, they definitely, I don't know if we knew what the brand was going to be, but I'm near certain that they gave equity before they launched the drinks. I believe they launched the brand coin before they launched the drinks. And I think it was like, we didn't really know what Rekt was going to become. And if my memory is slipping me here, I wouldn't be surprised. So if anyone is,
No, I think you're right though. They did give the equity before the token, but I guess
But
what was
they
the
have
equity in at that point though?
just whatever they were going to build. And that's like, so you were getting equity in a startup that was going to find, like, I believe had the drinks flopped, I think they would have launched another product. Maybe it was a CPG product, maybe it was something different. But these guys were building a community. They, yes, art, but also like, I don't know if everyone knows this. Like, this isn't part of like Rekt Brands per se, but dgens.finance it's Ovi and Mando. It's the Rekt team essentially. Bad example here is it's not that new internet's failing me, but yeah, dgens with a z dot finance is it's been a good resource for information and data from well before even equity in Rekt was given, well before the Rekt brand. So like they were building and they had this thriving community. So it's like there was confidence that we talk often, like I like investing in people. And when they gifted that equity, like I didn't know what it was going to become. I didn't have any expectations of like, oh, this is going to make me thousands of dollars or it's going to be some huge windfall someday. But I was excited because I believe that they're going to be successful in most things they do. And they allowed us to come along for the ride. Maybe they had already thought of Rekt drinks and they knew that was going to be the plan from the jump. I don't know. But it wasn't like they just launched, they gave equity in air and they came out of nowhere. To Steve's point, they really have had a vibrant community for years, well before maybe even, I think any of this probably came to fruition, and they kind of just layered onto it. And yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I would argue you guys with Coffee with Captain, right, didn't have like kind of revenue like he had with all his art and stuff like that, right? But when it comes to like a brand, right, if we're talking about like how do we, are you in a position to launch a brand coin with an existing brand? I mean, is there outside of, let's think of like what other brands exist in Web3 right now, right? I would argue Coffee with Captain's top 5 most notable brand in Web3, right? When you talk about like what do we know in Web3, look at how many other shows have survived Web3. I mean, I don't hear anything about a lot of the other shows that during the bull. So like, if you're talking about, do you guys have a brand right now that if you could come up with some type of system that made sense, I think you have the brand, you have the reach. It's just a question of, to Steve's point, like, what would you do with it so it doesn't feel grifty?
Yeah, that's the challenge. The challenge is like, for like, and I know we're just like, hey, let's workshop Coffee with Captain this morning. It's like the idea of like creating like and distributing a physical product actually is really fun and exciting. Like the Rekt model is actually really fun and exciting. It'll be a fun thing to do. A lot of work on the back end, a lot of grinding, a lot of meetings. It's just, it's hard.
I don't want to launch a brand coin just to like, oh, we're going to share part of our sponsor dollars with all of our whole, like, that's just, I think it would have to have a path towards probably a physical product. I think, Steve, I don't know.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It would have to be like, and like, what is it, right? The coffee market's so competitive. We've seen like 5 coffee brands try to launch in Web3 one way or another, and with varying levels of success, right? we've seen the chocolate brand that, CEO's launched, and, that has, done pretty well. And that's been kind of exciting for a lot of people. And we get that. We've seen Rekt drinks. But like, it's really hard to launch a company, period. As we'll go to Von Frunten in a second here. We talk about connected clothing, like really hard to launch a company in Web3 that gets people excited, that gets them using, it's not easy. And the Rekt model is, it's not easy. Like, they create a whole redemption site. They have to do the dev work and all those things. And so it requires like upfront capital, it requires a lot of work, it requires a lot of faith, it requires a community. And then you launch a brand coin related to it where you say, this is about, this is how you then, distribute from there. But like, it's just, the market is, and they entered a very crowded market too. I like the idea of the brand coin as a reward in that case, if you want to mess with that. Like, I like a lot of these ideas of sort of the market, but it's like, you need to have a good product. You need to have something people want. You need to have a community. You need to have people who are willing to jump in and get excited about it. What Rekt did, the reason why Rekt is sort of this exception to the rule in a lot of ways, go post about Rekt coin and watch 70 Rekt PFPs getting your responses and your replies. Not a lot of people have that power. Like, the Bodoggos, when they launch physical products, they sell out pretty quickly because they have a bunch of people with Bodoggos PFP that feel like they're part of that feel a sense of identity with that community, that are part of that crew. So like they could launch physical products and make it work. But it's like, launching a physical product is hard. And the way you would have to start it is you would probably have to have some sort of an NFT collection with a plan where you've done the tokenomics on and the money. Then you'd probably have to have a reward token sort of idea.
But see,
right?
you guys haven't. I mean, technically, you guys have an NFT collection, right? You have the DGen Network Pass. Wouldn't it make sense to build out, build with that existing community and that existing NFT and grow that brand?
Probably not, because DGen is effectively a community now, right? Like, I think Cap and I are the last like standing content creators from the DGen network at this point, as far as that goes. And it's become just sort of a community there. And that pass was always, like, as we put out at the time when we sold it, that's simply to get access to the war room. Because at the time, for people who don't know the history of the DGen network pass, like, we have this gated Discord. We had a Discord, and when the bull market was heating up, we were getting all sorts of allow lists and opportunities. As we were getting those, we saw that they were getting botted. Like, we would put out a thing and it would get botted by like 100 different like people who are getting on allow lists, and sometimes they got them, sometimes they didn't. So we simply wanted to gate that. And so we put it out there where we're like, no future promise of anything, no alpha, no anything here. You just get a DGen network pass. It means you're in the war room, you get a part of the chat. And, at the time, whatever we sold it for, it returned a million X that. Like, not that it matters, like, and we didn't look at it as financial aspect, but it returned a lot more because those allow lists were pretty lucrative at the time. Now, without the NFTs, there aren't. So I don't know that we would build against that if Cap and I were to do something. Like, that was a moment in time. It was delivered promised utility. And if people want to get in, there's a limited number, and that's fine. But even though there's only a few hundred of those, it would have to be much bigger than that if you're building a true brand that goes out. So I don't know that I would build against that personally.
I do want to, we've got a couple other hands on stage here. I do want to hear from Von Frunten and get his takes on audible form after lighting up the YouTube chat with all kinds of alpha. And then Sarah just dropped something in the chat. We'll go to her after Von Frunten. This is, I was not familiar. I just gave him a follow. I'm going to pin it up top if anyone else wants to check it out as well. But this, she shared an example of Marco Lipperini. Has a ops dev coin where holders are rewarded by a portion of his earnings as a dev. Fascinating concept. I agree. I will be checking it out. Really cool use case. Lawyers, doctors, electricians, plumbers, all sorts of folks could really profit in this concierge service membership model. I agree. Although I would say, and again, we'll go to Von Frunten and then Sarah for future comments, but my still, when I'm having trouble connecting in my head, I think it's relatively easy to do for a dev because presumably the revenue that they're sharing is coming on chain. So it's easy to see that. It's easy to be transparent. Whereas lawyers, doctors, electricians, plumbers, mostly probably their revenues coming in the form of fiat in their bank account, and back to that trust me bro model. Not saying it can't work. I appreciate some comments saying the trust me bro model would work. I just believe that maybe there isn't a better way today, but I believe we'll find a better way to do it. Von Frunten, GM, what say you, sir?
GM. Though I'm really curious of what insult Cap threw my way when I was coming up on stage earlier. Now that he's learned that hack, somebody let me know. And Joey, thank you for trying to pump my DGen Genesis pass bags. I really do appreciate it.
I think I might be I probably, they're all in tons of different wallets, but I think I might be the number one holder of the DGen pass. I've never sold it. I've given a bunch away, and I have.
It's probably still chamber, to be honest. Actually,
I think I've got him topped. I have a lot of them. Like I'm probably north of 30. Go ahead, Fun.
Yeah, no worries. So a couple things. I think the genesis of the comment that you were talking about, and I'm crediting my morning sauna session for the brain juices flowing here. I don't know if you need a physical product, right? And this is where I was like, and I don't have an answer. I don't have a hot take on this. It was a genuine question of like, what are the things you need to have in place to have a successful brand coin, right? Like I go back to, a lot of what Steve wrote in his book about like what makes really successful NFTs, right? And there's the whole staircase, and like when you started to add all of those things together, those are what the top NFT projects or communities had. I'm wondering if there is something similar on the token front, and we're just starting, like we're in the early days, so we don't know what it is. We can't look back and say, this is exactly the model and the formula for how this works, right? But you look at Rekt and you look at Pengu, and for the sake of this conversation, I'm going to call those two the only two quote unquote brand coins. They are tied to a community. They are tied to a product. In this case, it's a physical product, so I believe it doesn't have to be physical. And the brand of the coin is inextricably linked to the brand of the overarching business. Whether it is, they both share the name, right? Rekt Drink, Rekt Coin, Pengu, Penguin. It's like there is an actual like physical trademark kind of branding that goes along with it. The images of the coin on your decks is a pudgy penguin or a Rekt guy. And I'll say Rekt guy way more than Pengu at the moment is actually put in as part of the ecosystem for the product that they're selling, which in this case is a carbonated beverage, right? Now, does it have to be a physical product? I don't think so. Like I could envision a world where prolific, content creators launch a token, and if the on-chain rails are there, you can see. I mean, we saw this a little bit with the studio, the Doodles put out there, right? Like, give me credit for watching a video, right? Maybe this is what anime is doing. We'll see, right? But I think there are models where it doesn't have to be a physical product, but you are putting a revenue generating product out there in some way, shape, or form that then you are rewarding people for taking part in that revenue generating activity, right? It's right now it's buying drinks and it's buying plushies and toys. It could be watch the season of One Piece on anime.com, and whatever sponsorship ads we got from that series goes back to the people who hold anime, or maybe there's a One Piece token on the anime chain, whatever, right? There's a lot of different ways I think you can do it, right? But I do think it's like you got to have something that's going to generate revenue. Otherwise, where's the money coming from? I do think, and this was kind of my comment around like, could you, where launching, the Greater Cleveland CrossFit coin may not be good. I do think there's an aspect of community, right? Like there has to be this groundswell, whether it's community, whether it's capital, whether it's both, going into it, that allows you to kind of get the groundswell off, rather than just somebody launching a random token on Pump Fund, calling it a brand coin and making it trying to make it big, right? There's something there. Last point. We're sitting here singing the praises of Pengu, singing the praises of Rekt. We've talked about having memories of goldfish in this space. Look at the charts, right? 4 months ago, we weren't talking about Rekt. I think it was a market cap of like 8 million, right? How many people called the death of Pengu because it crashed from its TGE, market cap to where it was, and it's really only recently started to kind of crank back up where we're, in multiples of where it was. Like I remember when 69 Pengu was in 69 cents, and now we're north of $2. So I think there's part of this too of like, I'm like, trust me, I'm glad that we're starting to find traction on both of those, and hopefully it helps show what a concept that this can be. But I think there's a lot of these come with like a lot of ups and downs, right? It's going to be a token. You're going to have the chart that looks like almost any token chart, and then it's about what do you do with it after the fact, right? So who knows? Maybe anime, maybe dude, maybe the others are going to be next, and we'll find some traction there. But I do think there's a thesis of brand coins. I don't think we have it yet. I think we are in summer 2021 territory with brand coins where we're just like, wow, numbers going up. This is cool. But there isn't the Harvard Business Review article. There isn't the book that looks retrospectively to say, and these are the building blocks that made it work.
I agree. I don't even know if we're summer 21 yet as it relates to brand coins. I think we're still maybe January at the latest. January Top Shot mode. Like I think it's still so early. Yes, there's two examples that you spoke of. I would agree with those. Maybe I'm completely wrong here. I don't know if Pengu would have even. I don't think they did consider themselves a brand coin, and they may still not. I view them as a brand coin. I think part of, and maybe they're not changing anything. This is just pure speculation, but I believe Pengu is probably going to be taking some bits and pieces out of what Rekt has done, incorporating into their business model moving forward. I think we're super, super early on this idea. And yes, will sentiment and momentum ebb and flow with price? Probably. But, I also think of like, dude, I think there's a world where stable brand coins could become a thing. I think like, especially you start talking about traditional non-crypto native companies like Blackbird, right? Is that what the Fly token? Like, I think probably for like, I could build and or agree with a business case where it makes more sense for those to be tied to a dollar, to be a stable coin as opposed to a vault. Now, if I'm doing it, I'm a degen and I like the upside, so I would deal with the stress of number go down, but not everyone is wired that way, and it would become very stressful if they had a brand coin and they have to deal with a 90% drawback and dealing with that. Personally, I'm a fan of the upside that.
It's less about the drawback and it's more about the people making threats against your life and like doxing your house when stuff goes down like that. That's one of the reasons like creating crypto sucks, is like, to the point Von Frunten made, Pengu was down and people were like not thrilled about it and saying like, this is bad. Rekt was down. Like, it follows the market, which is why it's like, it would have to be really thoughtfully distributed and integrated. And again, that's why I said like, if this sort of thing is going to be a thing, then like, I think like, we were talking about it in the war room, like there doesn't need to be a coffee with Captain coin. Look, there's no way that coffee with Captain has a better chance of pushing a brand coin than Doodles with Dude. No offense, like to us, but like Doodles has a community that is very big, very interested. They partner with McDonald's and their coin is just absolutely bleeding out. And I know that people talk about execution risk and the NFT prices and all these things, but like
agreed. But Steve, it's relative to Pengu or Rekt, it's like laughable. Yeah. It still has a $28 million market cap. Like, not saying we could do that, but not every brand coin has to become a $200 million or a $2 billion market cap. Like a $1 million market cap, and the team holds back 50% of the token, you just created $500,000 of a marketing budget. That's huge for a lot of startups, right?
Yeah. And so you're right. And so I guess like my point being, though, the thing I was going to say, and like we were talking about this in the war room, is like, if I'm going to have any sort of thing that is on the blockchain that I am tying my name to, my general thesis is I would follow my own advice in my book, and it would be probably leading, though, with a physical product that I believe in, like, and use. I don't even know what that is. Like, I don't have enough passions that, like, I'm passionate about a lot of things, but I don't have, like, the deep passions where I'm like, yeah, I really know pickleball, so I'm going to do it around this, or I really like riding bikes, or whatever that thing is. I think that has to be the thing. And it would have to be like, I'm into this thing. I like this, physical product. Like for us, like, I don't want to enter coffee. Coffee is a competitive space. I love coffee, but it's like, I go to Starbucks every morning. I'd be giving that up and I'd be going with my own coffee. That's great. Like, we don't want to make a great product, but like, even in the traditional, even in like the world, it's like Barstool. It's like Stella Blue coffee exists, right? And like, that's like even a small player compared to a lot of things. They're giving money away to, shelters based on a certain amount of sales. So I think it would have to be something where it's like, we have a physical product we like and believe in that we want to create, and we want to drive it, and we want to make our brand 1,000% behind this thing, and we believe in it, and we're going to eat, sleep, and breathe it the same way some other brands do. But it's like, there has to be a roadmap and a model to that, and there has to be a thoughtful way that we're going to make it work. And I would have to do the numbers on the, the price and everything. But like, I've been having this itch. I've been telling people, and then we'll go to Sarah in a second here. I've been having this itch lately. It's like, I haven't had a job since Starbucks Odyssey a little over a year ago, a year and a few months ago, right? Like when that sunset. I loved doing that. I'm getting the itch to do it again. Like, it's something that I've been looking around for. I've been, talking to some companies and being like, hey, maybe there's some work here and there, and looking around. I would love to launch an actual product and try to build something from scratch. Like, that would be a fun thing to do. Like an actual physical product that has, not just like a content product. What that is, though, it's like, I would need to be so passionate that I want to bring that to the world. And, drinks, Rekt is doing a damn good job with that already, right? So it's like, what is that thing that's ubiquitous enough to be used? And I just don't know the answer to that. So
before we go to Sarah and Board Dev, really appreciate your patience. I have to shift gears. I haven't used that one in a while. I have to shift gears at 9:30, and don't go anywhere. We'll still be here. I thought this might be a heater of a show today, Steve. So can we knock out a quick market update, and we'll go Sarah and Board Dev?
Oh yeah, I wasn't even paying attention. We got the daily market update coming in. It's coming through. Let's pay the bills.
The daily market update straight to your brain. Powered by ApeCoin, no hype, just gains. Moving on 8chain, we bringing the heat. NFTs, Feds Alpha, never miss a beat. 8chain on top, now we bringing the flex. The home of NFTs, these now what's next? Come on, my head top, but you want the time to chop off for one time.
It's time for the daily market update, powered by ApeCoin, the home of NFTs. ApeChain has it all, bringing culture, fun, and community to the blockchain. Dive in and see why ApeChain is on top. Cap.
Mentioned it earlier. We're going to start with the CryptoPunks, the V1 CryptoPunks. Just since we've started the show, the floor is up another 10%. They were about just over 2 ETH when I checked a little bit ago. Already up to 2.3 ETH on 11 sales. 274 ETH in volume. As I mentioned, 250 of that ETH came off 2 sales. There was a V1 CryptoPunk Ape that sold for 50 ETH, and then an Alien that sold for 200 ETH, sending the floor up 10% on the day. But I keep going back and forth if I want a V1 or not. I don't know. Maybe someday. I should have bought it when we looked at it last week when there was the one scam listing at like 0.78 or something. But you also know that actually all the scam collections are gone. When I first looked this morning, there was 2 more Mutant Ape scam collections and some Azuki scam collections. Just be careful if you're out there buying things. Double check. Make sure you have the actual correct contract. Don't be spending ETH, your precious ETH, on something that is a fake collection. That said, Miladies leading the charge today. They usually trade inverted to the NFT market, and they are once again up to 2.65 ETH, up 11% on the day. Bigs pulled back a little bit, down 1.73%. DX Terminal, that's the OpenSea farm. Little Pudgies 1.4, pull back a couple percent. Bored Apes down 1%. Mutant Apes down 3%. Meebits down 1%. Although some decent volume there. 15 sales, 40 ETH in volume. The Infinex patrons. This is the one that is basically it's a future token allocation, down 5% of the day. I believe this is mostly like the investors bought in. I don't know if they're earmarking it to USD or ETH, but as ETH rips, I would expect that to pull back because it's essentially a placeholder for their future TGE. No idea what Dataland Biome Lumini is. If anyone's aware, feel free to share, but looks like a no idea. But things are coming back apparently. Heading down to, we're going to fly past the runes here in a second, but Doge leading the charge on the meme streets today, up to almost 24 cents, up 12% of the day, having a week. Sheep up 4%, Pepe down 1%, Bonk down 7%, Pump Fund also back below, I believe, pre-sale price. Trump up 3%, and Pingu down 2% on the day. I say we're going to fly past runes, but they're having a day over there as Bitcoin is not ripping. It is up 1% of the day to 119,267. ETH 36.15, up 5% on the day. XRP is probably the real retail coin of the cycle, up another 7%, going crazy volume, and continues on an absolute heater. $3.48 per token. Good luck trying to find an Uber now, as Uber drivers have stumbled into generational wealth with their XRP bags. Solana up 1% to 178. That's quietly sneaking back up to 200. Doge up 12%, as I said earlier, and Cardano up 6%, looking like they're on their way to $1. That's our daily market update, brought to you by ApeChain. ApeChain on top. Don't forget about your spotlights over there. Get your market predictions, your Ape Predict in, and get yourself in the running for that. They're giving away a Bored Ape System 1 in the top 100, top 10, some pretty big prizes. More on that soon. Steve, back to you.
I actually just put some money into Solana the other day and staked it as well. So that's where we're at on this, which is crazy to say. I just think we're in a point where it's just getting to be silly season. Like, we haven't even hit on the ETH stuff yet, but I know we have some other hands that I definitely want to go to. So let's go ahead and get Sarah in here. Sarah, GM.
GM. I'm just going to swing back real quick, and then I'm going to duck out because we're doing the hackathon this morning. So a couple things. One, makerspaces are analog NFT communities, right? And so when you think about these tokens, I was listening to Cap, and Von Frunten is one of my favorite people. So you just kind of marinate. Why does it have to be a coin, right? Why did we have to have a badge for people to come into a shared space, time, tool, and idea, right? Why did we need it? It's an accountability between the two parties that they're not going to wreck stuff, right? And that we're going to make sure that there's stuff available for them to use. This is the same as, your Planet Fitness and et cetera. An NFT is basically a bag of rights. That's all it is. It's a promise between folks. And I wanted to give people an idea of what others are kind of doing. For instance, we have a number of very, disciplined, professionals in the system here in listening audience today. Things like lawyers, doctors, plumbers, etc. One of the things that our local folks do, and this is what I tell all of my students, think local, but expect global, right? Think of your local communities or your big, Leonidas is 300. He didn't have the whole world. He had his 300. So think local and then expect it to go global because you are that awesome, right? One of the things that we've been doing with our local HVAC people and plumbers is putting their house repairs on chain. And why do we do that? Because the boomers and their parents are dying. And we need to know when the well was fixed, when, your last time the air conditioner was looked at. And these are really important because tokens, unlike your promise or even a piece of paper, right? You can hand them off, but they're generational. So if you create a concierge type service, right? Maybe you're a lawyer and you're on retainer. Can you transfer that to anybody else in the family? What if you're a concierge farm doctor out here during COVID? All of our doctors closed their doors because they were considered unessential if they weren't in a hospital, right? So they had, their little system of people that would come out to your house. The same with the vets. I have a livestock guardian dog, cannot go to the vet, cannot go in to a normal facility because my dog will hurt other dogs. That's their job. So the vet comes out to our house. Having those concierge services in a token that can hand off and attach to certain things is really, really powerful. And the idea up top is really amazing. You had a bunch of really cool developers. Right now, you have a bunch of very cool people in the DGen network. I am a token holder, so I'm pumping my bags here, folks, like a total DGen. The reason I bought it is because I believe in Captain and I believe in Steve. I believe in their expertise, and I wanted a seat at the table. I wanted to be present, and I wanted to be around those tools, like just like a makerspace. I have memberships in different makerspaces because one has a plasma cutter and another has a CNC. I am in this ecosystem for the ability to be Sherpa'd through a process by these two gentlemen. And so when Marco created his project, he said, look, we need seed money. We need to do this because we would really like to have an entire ops, crew, basically, to help other people build out their projects and make sure they're on chain. But they didn't want to give that equity to a VC. They would rather have it in the community and be able to be redistributed. And the way that they did that was so powerful because unlike the real world, fractionalized ownership happens here in the digital overlay. Web3 allows that. That is insanely unique piece of the puzzle. We didn't have that for makerspaces 20 years ago. If we did, it would have been a different ball of wax. If we could have fractionalized ownership of a $40, $50, $60,000 machine, that would be very powerful. And, lastly, I'll just tie it up in a neat little bow. Verification. This is the reason why we're here too. Those tokens that hand off, there are notaries in the real world that have to pay to be notaries. You have to, get their little stamp. You have to have all those things. We need that for this ecosystem, to be able to have that little stamp that says, yep, I did the thing. I did everything. One of our friends here, Katie, teacher Katie, I love her, right? Can you imagine her as a teacher certified, being able to tutor your children and give you a certificate saying this is what they learned so that their transcript can be boosted? Or maybe you're in karate, right? And you move to a new town and you have your belt, but do you have your credentials? Do you have your tournaments that you had to fight in to get your black belt? These are the kinds of things that you can marinate on. And it's very successful. We just have to think outside of the brand. People might not think that my blue hair is special, but they definitely think my ability to build interesting places and events is pretty cool that involve, maker builder types. I can't, do a Coachella. It's not my jam, right? But I can definitely pull together a group of really awesome people and have a really cool dinner party of innovators, right? That's what you're trying to think of. It's not about you, Cap or Steve, but I'm saying Cap, special. And it's not about the coffee. It's about the conversation that you bring to the table and the other folks that are there to have that, sparring, the iron that sharpens iron and helps all of our business models, cross-pollinate and create really cool things. It's really, really awesome. But I just wanted to put that out there because there have been some really cool projects. And if you're a person that has a credential of some sort, that's valuable. You can put it to use and you can put it to work for you in very powerful ways. And thinking local with your small companies around, whether it's a plumber, whether it's an electrician, whether it's a person that has to dig wells. How many times do you have your well dug? Once, maybe service twice before you sell your house. But if you had a token that said, here's what happened, here are the records. I happen to use Arweave, but you can use whatever you want. But I digitally notarized all of my lunar cargo. Every single document, every single NFC chip, everything was documented so that if someone holds this box, they know the bag of rights that they're getting. So I just wanted to point it out because you're a bag of rights, Captain and Steve, and you're very special and you're very worth it. So I can't wait to see what you do. And yeah, I'll be investing in you. So I'll go back down to speaker.
One, appreciate that. And two, like the creativity and thoughtfulness, it's sort of like looking at the future of what the blockchain can do, what it's currently doing. But yeah, like Von Frunten says, and I think he kind of hit my thoughts here. Sarah summed it up personally. Fractionalized ownership by supporters of the brand is why I'm bullish on brand coins. And yeah, I think it has to be but again, it has to be something that you truly believe in. And to me, it's like, I agree with what Von Frunten's saying and the idea of it. It's just, it has to be something where it's got to be like a physical product, a product I truly, truly like believe in and care about if it were something that I were building against. Cause to me, like, I know that seems obvious, but it's like, it's not just doing it for the sake of doing it. I think that,
Steve, just to jump in, your kids dabble in the dark arts of pirate money, right? Very, very smart. Is that on their transcript? No, that's an extracurricular activity that boosts their, bona fides when they decide to go into higher education. You have the ability to do that, to offer that. So it doesn't have to be a physical. It can be something that's outside of the realm. Like my kids were hack schooled. They never went into a public school at all, but they took classes from folks at MIT. They learned wearable tech when they were 5 or 6. And if that's a token that they have in, let's say, their quiver, that's really, really important. And you are uniquely qualified to bring that to the table. You have children that are already in this ecosystem and building. That's your use case and your proof of concept, because you really do want to have those skills. Employers don't give a rat's patootie at all about your degrees. They want to see your GitHub. They want to see what you're building. And that's the key. And that's why tokens are so important, is that they have a verification and a validation that is able to be, given to other people. And you have that trustless community or trustless, interaction. But you're absolutely right. I'm going to step down, but I love you guys. And thank you for having today's show. It's been brilliant. I have so many notes per usual.
It's a fun one. Appreciate you as always. Always love having you swing up the stage. And just, appreciate you as a person. You have a kind energy that we always appreciate, and also very smart, which I think is a rare combo when you have someone who is actually very smart and also very kind. You don't always get those two together. Board Dev, go ahead and get in here. GM.
Hey, GM guys. Yeah, I just wanted to actually throw something out there because I was actually just thinking about this the other day, and I've been having some conversations, and we have the Ape Chain spotlight, and I really love that, and the features that it brings of letting people participate in your brand and earn points. And I've been thinking about this for quite a while. I've always wanted to have some type of points and rewards. So my brand with the Happy Ape, people buy products, maybe they earn points along the way. Now I have the animation on YouTube, and I'm launching a physical product this year. And I have my plushies already, but this is a different type. So it's, going along the lines of the blind box and more of a collector's series. And I was like, man, I'd love if, people collected the series and then maybe they collected all of them and they got extra rewards, extra points, but they had a way to spend those points. Maybe it was to buy books or to buy something down the road, or maybe redeem gift cards or something like that. So I think that can work really well with brands. But then my mind goes to, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this. I have flashbacks of DeGods and when Frank, they launched, their token. They had this reward shop where they could redeem for iPads and all these crazy things. And they were just they had so many, good things in the store that people could buy and get, but that kind of all fell apart. So I haven't seen a coin, and talk about Pangu, it dropped, and I haven't seen a coin do really, really well. So I don't know, there has to be a really good play on the points and the value it provides versus just having a token and watching the price, because that always has a negative connotation if it goes down. Whereas if you just have points and you're collecting them and you can use them as rewards, I don't think people pay attention because there's no monetary value really associated with that kind of. Does that make sense? So I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I think the tricky part is I think there's a collector aspect to it. I also think for someone like you, having enough products, you have a couple of products that exist in the market and figuring out a way to tie them together, I think is smart. I don't know if a coin makes sense until you've got that really tight plan to tie them all in together. But yeah, man, I get the idea of hey, can we have something in here? Because there is also something to be said about the fact that you're educating people on crypto. And one of the things that I always would, I would always say is if you're educating people on NFTs, like I never got an NFT education, something I considered. But if you're getting an NFT education, I consider the idea of like one of the like. In fact, actually, I will say this because we did do this when I would like speak at Scott's classes at Harvard. There would be like this thing at the end of them where it would be like, and now you can mint a POAP for this class. And now you have your first NFT in your first wallet. So the idea of like some sort of crypto or something that you would be able to have in your wallet based on, hey, like if you collect these things, you get a certain thing. If you own, just for funds, you get a certain thing. If you scan the book, you get a certain thing. And oh, by the way, you now own $1 of your first cryptocurrency. You can watch it go up and watch it go down. It's the same concept as actually when I talked to my kids and they were getting in, and I was getting my daughter into the stock market. I was like, well, let's buy you like 1 share of Disney because you understand Disney's product. And then you can understand what they're doing and how they're doing it. And you can understand the financials when they go up and down as it goes. So like first you might be like, oh, I own Disney. The stock went down, but Moana 2 just came out. And you'd be like, oh, but less people subscribe to Disney Plus. Or you might say, oh my God, like a ton of people subscribe to Disney Plus. It went up. So I think like she would learn that. So I think there's a concept there. Like I think there's a there. Like I'm not sure how you would workshop it out, but I think the idea of like you make children's books that are educational. You have an NFT collection that is really fun. Still, by the way, one of my favorite NFT collections. Like I absolutely love the one that I bought. There's probably a there to putting something together where you buy this and you get your first crypto. We're not saying it goes up, it goes down, it goes whatever, but you can watch it and it teaches you about how this whole function works. Like there's probably something there. So is that kind of the direction you're thinking around?
No, I mean, I want to have points and just do something similar to Spotlight, where like Ape Chain Spotlight, where, if you go to my store and you buy a product, you get points. If you watch my YouTube series, you get points. If you collect a collectible and you scan the NFC chip and you collect the NFT, the free NFT, then you get points. I just want to do something like that. I will not do a token because I don't see it working out. I mean, I launched a token before. I tried it when Coco's hub came out, and like I wanted to do that just for fun. But like, dude, you got like that is a whole different ball game that you have to be really, really, really prepared for and have a good base community and like 24/7 focus on. Like I won't do a token for Happy Ape. Like I thought about it before. I tried it just for fun and it just like blew up. So I would definitely steer clear of that just for me, for my sake of what I've been through and what I've, like I said, I have flashbacks of like DGods and stuff, and I haven't seen a token do that well. So, but I do like the point system and rewarding people. So I guess that's where I'm going with my brand and see how that goes.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I think a point system is smart. I think that's I think directionally that is the right way to go as far as like, starting that way. And then you can figure it out. But like, it was a, Von Frunten actually in our war room said, and I think it's worth saying, he goes, agree with Board Dev. You can't launch a token half-ass. It's gotta be the focus. And that is the thing, is it has to be like a very focused, dedicated business unit. And makes sense. And I also think like part of the thing with Ape Chain tokens, and look, obviously we love Ape Chain, sponsor of the show. There is something to be said about like there wasn't a ton of liquidity on there, and so it was kind of people initially playing around versus like you launch a token on like a Solana, there's a legitimate reason for launching that token on Solana. So I don't know, but yeah, I like the idea of a point system. I think loyalty point systems are good. Like it lets it's a given. It's like it's a classic. This isn't unique to Web3, although Web3 helps with it. It's a putting loyalty in a way where you earn something by just using products. It's like it's Starbucks stars, it's Delta Sky miles. It's the same thing. So I think putting a point system in place is good, and I think a dev who could work on it. So that makes sense. I like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Were you guys talking, like, were you thinking about doing some type of token? Is that what you guys are talking about for?
No. So what happened was we were talking about brand coins and someone mentioned brand coin come up and someone said like, oh, like a coffee with Captain Coin. I'm like, well, we wouldn't do that because we don't think that there's enough to push it. It doesn't make sense. Why would you hold it? We were saying we would only do such a thing as a reward program if we had a physical product that we were passionate about. So like Rekt drinks are a good example. Like it's like if that didn't exist and we're like, hey, we want to make functional beverages, like because functional beverages are something that we think is pretty important. So we're like, okay, so we make functional beverages, and then we would potentially have a token tied to it similar to what Rekt does, and we think about it that way. But it's a whole nother business unit to manage, and you need to understand tokenomics. You need a token expert. So it's not the direction I personally would probably plan on going. I'm more like, I know NFTs deeply and sort of that methodology, not as much tokens. But someone brought up like a token that we should launch, and I'm like, I don't think we would launch a token. But if there was a place that we were able to like create a brand, I would consider a brand coin that way. So that was the discussion point that we had, because we're trying to figure out, and to give you even the full on background, we're kind of discussing what is the meta this cycle, because, you know, ICOs and crypto in 2017, 2018, we saw NFTs in 2020, 2021. In 2023 or late 2024, we saw meme coins. Like, what is the meta that's out in front, or is it just traditional finance coming from our bags? And someone brought up brand coins, and then we ended up going down this rabbit hole and haven't even discussed all the bullish ETH news, which is hilarious to say. But yeah, that's sort of how we ended up here. So that is the wild, twisted maze that got you there. So you are now fully caught up.
Nice. Yeah. Hey, and if you're getting the itch to launch a product, you know, more than happy to have you join me on my product launch. I don't think I can afford you, but you know, if you're really itching to launch a product, you know, come help me.
Yeah, no, I've been thinking about it, man. I've been thinking a lot about like what is my next play lately, because like I said, the itch. And again, maybe you might have heard this part, but yeah, it's like, you know, Starbucks Odyssey sunset a little over a year and a few months ago, and I've sort of had this itch to do something, and I'm trying to like poke around and find the right thing, and like the itch is getting super strong right now. So we shall see, but yeah, no, but definitely appreciate you and appreciate the thought, and yeah, always reach out as you're working on stuff. I'm always trying to help where I can. But let's see, Cap, do we have you on the Coffee with Captain handle, or are you currently running your errand right now?
I'm here. First time we've had a Cap on the street in a while, though.
Yeah, Cap on the street in a hot minute. It's been a while. That's Cap on the street goes back to the back in the day when I was you know, cooking breakfast and doing the dishes, you know, so that's
even busting on a fresh pair of Steves. First time ever wearing this set of Apple wired Apple. I didn't call them AirPods. What are they? Just the Steves? I forgot the actual name of them.
Just wired Apple headphones. I've got a pair sitting in my backpack upstairs that is completely brand new, unopened, that I bring to everywhere just in case I have to do spaces or anything. And it's funny, now that we stream, I don't really need them anymore. Or don't use them anymore because, of course, one of the most, although it actually might work now. I haven't tested them. Now that I think about it, I have my Apple headphones, but the problem with Apple headphones is they didn't use to plug into Apple devices. Like outside of, like, first of all, you need an adapter to get them into like a normal thing, but like then you would need like an adapter to get them into the actual Apple computers. But now I guess since they're USB-C, it might work. So in any case, that would be an interest, or in any case, I should say, like that's you know, it'd be interesting to test next time I'm on the road. But Cap, I'm gonna hit more you know, because I realize it is getting the hour is late and we need to hit on the more you know, and then after that, maybe talk a little bit of ETH as we close things out.
The more you know, brought to you by ENS.
It's time for the more you know, brought to you by ENS, and we've had a flurry of good crypto news lately, but for years, crypto was stuck in legal and regulatory limbo. It's finally changing. It started small in 2019. The Token Taxonomy Act tried to carve out digital tokens from securities, but it didn't pass. That still stayed under securities laws, but it did spark real conversation. Then in 2021, Senator Cynthia Lummis came to Washington with laser eyes and Bitcoin on her balance sheet. She called Bitcoin a store of value and pushed for smart regulation alongside Senator Gillibrand. Well, by 2023, Tom Emmer The House Whip was already on board. We saw him at Consensus talking about it a couple of years ago, calling out the SEC's enforcement approach. And Representative Patrick McHenry was leading hearings to focus on innovation, not fear, as well as some conversations we saw from J.D. Vance, the current vice president, and that groundwork has paid off. Fast forward to 2024 and 2025, Congress passed FIT 21, giving the clearest regulatory framework yet. The Genius Act locked in stablecoins as with reserve requirements and transparency. And the Clarity Act finally drew a line between the SEC and the CFTC. Congress even passed a bill to block Fed-run CBDCs. It's real momentum. Crypto finally has allies in DC, and they're turning talk into law. And that was The More You Know, brought to you by ENS. ENS does more you know, not just anchoring your name across Web3, but anchoring across the internet. It's your identity, simple, memorable, and unmistakably yours. Security, interoperability, and ease of use. Go to ENS.com to secure your domain today. And I will say this, look, I said it at the top of the show. I've been posting ETH stuff for days, and it feels like I'm getting redundant with so many things that are happening. But Tyler posted this tweet yesterday about this may be the single most bullish day for ETH news ever. Trump signs executive order allowing crypto and 401ks. Genius Act, the stablecoin bill, passes the House vote. BlackRock follows for ETH staking for its ETH ETF. SBET, the Sharplink Gaming we talked about, files to buy $5 billion more in ETH. ETH ETF inflows set a record with 727 million. Cap hit that at the top of the show. And it's a crazy, crazy time right now. And the ETH staking one is huge. You know, I mentioned something yesterday about this ETH staking that if approved, it reduces the circulating ETH supply by locking it up. It means regulators are dropping their staking equals security stance, which was a big discussion in Congress. If yield passes to investors, it makes ETH ETFs way more attractive, even if it's a small amount. Even if they don't pass yield on, they can reduce fees with that yield. And it almost certainly sparks the race for more funds to stake, opening up the floodgates. So, Cap, I just got to get your take on all of this ETH news before we get out of here. We got about 10 minutes left. Feeling about that ETH news and the direction we're moving.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be too obnoxiously bullish, but I do believe any one of those pieces of news, forget all the, we've really hit three major bills just passed yesterday, and we kind of flew over them. It's any one of these things, the regulation, the ETH strategic reserves, just all this stuff is it's just getting started too. That's what gets me so excited. Is I think does it create risk? Could there be I do believe there's going to be a cloud of these treasury companies, right? That is, to me, I think potentially the biggest threat to this cycle, right? What could send things the wrong direction is if some of these implode. Now, I think we're safe with Bitcoin and ETH, but as we start seeing them go further down the risk curve, it makes me a little uneasy. I just think we're so far away from even that happening. It's just so early in this process. There's two, for all intents and purposes, that are really making major moves on the ETH reserve standpoint. I think there'll be 20 within a month. I think maybe I'm read on this is way off, but I'm expecting many more of these treasury companies, both on the Bitcoin and on the ETH side. I think it's ETH's turn, and yeah, I don't think you're overhyping up at all. I think it's the thing I still can't reconcile. And I've been thinking about it. It's why the lag? Why did the ETFs go live a year ago? And really, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy, but was it simply Tom Lee and Joseph Lubin and crew? Were they just slow playing it so they could pack their bags?
I don't think they were slow playing it. I think we had an election coming up where one of the candidates was decisively anti-crypto, whether they want to say they were or not. One of the candidates was very pro-crypto. The pro-crypto candidate won. Everything looked really great. Then the pro-crypto candidate dropped a meme coin, which didn't go over well with a lot of the people in Congress, as well as potential people who oppose them. Didn't do a great job for crypto's reputation with anybody who fancies themselves a Democrat, because they're like, well, this guy's just grifting off this law. It's just a personal, conflict of interest. So That didn't go well. Then we had the whole Hayden Davis, Malay coin, Libra, that whole implosion. So that happened. And I know it was related to Solana, but it all is connected in the minds of traditional investors. They don't think of it different. Like people are like, isn't Ethereum just dollar store Bitcoin? It's very different, but that's how, a traditional person would think about it. So I just think that the way everything went down, I think that there were lags for skeptical reasons. And even Bitcoin wasn't soaring. I mean, I have to look at what Bitcoin was in. People forget Bitcoin 100K is new. Like people are like, what's taking what? Oh, it's Bitcoin is the. I mean, like looking at the 1 year chart. When did Bitcoin cross 100K? Cross 100K in. So the very first time it kissed 100K was December, I believe, this year, right? Like that because I think that's it. Is December of this year would be 100K. So it's not as if Bitcoin has been soaring in general, and even to start the year, it's like, it was at 104K, bouncing around, but it jumped back down to 75K in April. Like, it's not as if like this has been a up-only journey throughout it. It's just, I think we have short-term memories. Like Von Frunten mentioned, we have the memory of a goldfish around here. But, last year in August, it was 58K. So it's like, we're having a quick, a short run, but it's like, one of the reasons ETH, I think, hasn't just absolutely cooked and we haven't seen the runs and we didn't see the ETF go up is that I just think that traditional finance was skeptical. They weren't even jumping in heavy on Bitcoin. There was questions about there's questions in April about whether Bitcoin was just going to go back down. People were like, well, when Bitcoin goes back down to 50K, I'll buy. There are people who are saying things like that.
I vividly remember a lot of people called January as the top.
Yeah.
And they you know what? In their defense, they might still be right as far as the Solana ecosystem, as far as Solana. And like, I think it's safe to say that was the Pico top for quote unquote meme season, but certainly not the top of the cycle.
Yeah. And that's it. It's like, so I think like, it's not necessarily what took so long. It's just, I think it was like, people were like, okay, now what? And your point about people accumulating, that's possible too. It's possible Wall Street was doing that. It's possible they're focusing on other things. Honestly, I've become way too disconnected with TradFi to be as dialed in on that. So, not the greatest, greatest job for me there as far as like knowing like why TradFi is doing anything in that way. So I don't know, man. Like I guess my point being like, it's here now. I agree that for the time being, it's one of those you are not bullish enough moments with all the news we're seeing. It's like amazing, positive, institutional catalysts where I still remain skeptical and I will still continue to remain skeptical. And I know people may disagree with this, and it's not like the sexy thing to say is that I think we hit this plateau. I don't think we're close to it yet. I'm not saying we're there yet, and I'm not trying to be the party pooper. I think we do hit a point where the question becomes, okay, so we got here. Now what? Right? It's like now we've got here a bunch of people bought ETH. It's the next stage of the internet. It's the base layer. There's got to be people on the picks and shovels end who actually are integrating it with businesses. Like Starbucks needs to build another reward program, and Nike needs to go back on .swoosh, and companies that actually are need to use this thing in a meaningful way, and ownership needs to become a thing, and Delta needs it has to actually become a thing people are using.
By the way, real quick on Delta, I saw this morning they're changing how they do pricing, and they're going to defer their pricing, personalized pricing based on driven by AI. Like I just saw the headline, so it could be fake news, but basically Delta is shifting how they do pricing airline tickets and leaning into AI. And I read the headline as if it's basically like dynamic pricing based on individuals, which is interesting, but that's probably another story for another day.
Which is actually horrible because then it's just going to upcharge you. And like, if Delta does dynamic pricing and they're upcharging me more based on things, I'm just going to empty the clip on my miles, get rid of my credit card, and go fly someone else. Like, I'm not trying to get upcharged because I fly more or because I have more opportunity, which is the way I would see that going, where it's like, because you think about it, they would want to train the AI to get maximum, they'd be a MEVBot, maximum extraction of value, right? From each person. So Von Frunten asked if Camel posted the Delta story, Chris. Yeah, Zane says vibe pricing. You can just price things. Man, Worm's undefeated this morning. I'm at the point where it's like, if they did that, I'd be pissed because I feel like it would charge me more and it would be better for me to just not go through their native website and use a priceline.com and, to have it pricing. So that to me, if they're doing it that way, now, if they're doing it based on loyalty where they're like, we're doing dynamic pricing, we're giving better deals to people who are more loyal, well, then that's a whole different story, but I wouldn't see them going that direction. So, we'll see. That said, what are you thinking? Anything else on the headlines before we jump out of here?
No, I'm good, and I'm actually at my pickup point here, so I'll let you wind us down. And hope everyone has a great weekend. And we'll be back Monday, 8 a.m. Eastern time.
Right on. All right, we'll let everyone say off in their day. I will close us down. Thanks to everyone who came through this morning. We will talk to everybody bright and early Monday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, everybody.
Thanks for tuning into Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin. We hope you enjoyed the show, and remember, nothing we discussed today is financial advice. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Welcome to the future.